can be a scary time when you get the phone call from your doctor that your test came back indicating that you have gestational diabetes. However, there are many things that you can do to control your diabetes and still have a healthy, happy pregnancy. I'm Dr. Franco Cochea, and today we're talking about how to manage your blood sugars when you have been diagnosed with gestational diabetes. This is Peggy Pals, episode 100.
Is that a plus sign?
Pink or blue? Hospital or home birth?
What type of food should I be eating?
I think I just peed myself. I'm pregnant and I have to exercise.
What pregnancy glow?
Wait, was that a contraction?
Gotta make these pants fit. I've got kinkles.
What do you mean there's more than one?
You've got the symptoms, and now you've got the support you need for a happy 9 months. This is Preggy Pals, your pregnancy, your way.
Welcome to Preggy Pals, broadcasting from the Birth Education Center of San Diego. Preggy Pals is your weekly online on-the-go support group for expecting parents and those hoping to become pregnant. I'm your host, Annie Laird, and it's episode 100 today. Woohoo! As my oldest daughter would say, pop the roof. I don't know what that means.
It's like raise the roof.
Raise the roof. Pop. Yeah, I guess pop the roof. Yeah, pop the roof. Woohoo! Episode 100. So, if you haven't joined our Preggy Pals Club, then you're missing out on exclusive bonus interviews after each show, transcripts, and also special giveaways and discounts. See our website, www.preggypals.com, for more information. Another way for you to stay connected is by downloading our free Preggy Pals app, and that's available both in the Android and the iTunes Marketplace. And you can also subscribe to our monthly newsletter. Now our producer, Samantha, is going to tell us more about the Virtual Panelist Program.
Thanks, Annie. If you do not live in San Diego, but you'd like to be a panelist on our show, you can still participate through our Virtual Panelist Program. Simply like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter using hashtag PreggyPalsVP. We'll post questions throughout the week prior to our taping, and we'd love for you to comment so we can incorporate your thoughts into our episode. You can also submit your questions directly to our experts. Learn more about our Virtual Panelist Program through the community section on our website.
Thanks, Samantha. Well, let's go around the table here, introduce ourselves and the panelists that we have in the studio today. I'm Annie. I'm 35, government contractor during the day, panelist.
Rockstar host and producer by
exactly.
weekend.
Yeah, by weekend. That's what I do. And early in the morning, I was on the Fox show for the mocktails, and that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So I have 3 kids, 3 little girls, crazy busy all the time, but we have a great time. So
You want me?
Yeah.
All right. I'm Sunny. I am actually the owner of New Mommy Media, which produces this show, as well as Parent Savers, the Boob Group, and Twin Talks. I am a mommy of 4 kids, and my oldest is about 3.5 years old. My middle guy is about to enter his terrible 2s. He's flirting around with the terribleness right now. And then I have identical twin girls who are about 5 months old.
I said this is the first time they're not in the studio since they were born. I know. It's so quiet in here.
I know. I'm actually much less stressed when they're not around.
Yeah, well,
I do miss them. Though,
yeah, when they were first born, I think it's a lot easier because they're so sleepy.
Yeah.
But they were starting to definitely get into their, we're awake.
And where's mama? And
there's milk around here somewhere. Too many lactating females around here.
Right.
Anyways, so Erin, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Erin. I am 36. I have to think about that. I just had a birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you so much. I am a nurse, and I had my little man September 2nd on Labor Day. I think he was playing a joke on me.
That's
I'm going to make my mom labor on Labor Day.
Uh-huh.
He is our first, and as far as the type of birth we had, awesome midwife birth, hospital setting. It was fabulous.
Great.
Yeah.
All right. Well, today on Preggy Pals, we are going to be looking over an app. This is free, as most of them are that we do our app reviews on the iTunes Marketplace, and it's called Baby Countdown. And that's pretty much, I'm looking at it right now on my phone. That's pretty much what it is. So you can go on here. You can do a count up or a count down. So I guess you can do a count up if you want to set the date to whatever your baby's first birthday is, or if you want to do a countdown to D-Day, to delivery day of your baby, you can do that as well. So it's very cute. There's a little baby baby cake and then some baby shoes on top and says, "Until my bundle of joy comes." And I put in here a client of mine. I'm a labor doula. I guess I forgot to mention that. So this gives me 24 days, 1 hour, 31 minutes, and 20 seconds until my client goes into labor.
That's
Maybe.
actually that might be helpful for you. Actually,
Yeah,
to
maybe
know that kind of
yeah.
stuff.
So I mean, I guess that's helpful of going. Okay, when's my next client due? But I guess the downside of it is, unless you're getting induced, you're having, a C-section
Right.
on a certain day.
Right.
Who knows what, heck, Sonny,
Yeah.
well, you didn't know when your twins were coming.
No.
You thought you were going, you're like, I'm going to 37 weeks.
Yeah.
And
That
didn't
app
happen.
wouldn't have really helped me too much. Although, I will say the more kids that you have, the more the dates all become confusing and, how many weeks pregnant am I and all this kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
This is a really simple app. I mean, I actually didn't set it up, but I'm assuming it just asked you for your due date in the beginning and that was it. And then up came a clock.
Yeah. You could put in here, let me go here to the settings here. So I can put in a date and time. So I put in a certain time, but who knows? I mean, like I said,
Yeah.
who knows when baby is coming?
Oh, yeah.
Now, you could do that for, when my child's next birthday is coming.
Right,
Which with
right.
more children, you kind of lose track. I mean, I lost track of my toddler the other day. She went to the store, so she walks out of the store, and a security guard. How embarrassing is this? So I'm shopping. I tell the oldest, watch her, and she's watching Frozen, which of course turns her into like a school-age zombie, I guess, kind of.
Yeah.
And a security guard comes in with my toddler, and it's like, whose baby is this? Mom of the year right here. I'm like, that's my baby. She's like, she was playing in the alley. Oh my God. Yeah. So that a little off topic there. That's nothing to do with the app, but I mean, the point is you lose track of stuff, including
Yeah.
your children when you have multiple children.
So it's nice because
Sure.
it's just a single screen, pops
Yeah.
up, count down, count up, whatever you want. So I guess if
And
if
it's
you
free.
forget that it is free.
It's free.
Can you change the background at all? And it looked like it had like a little baby cake or something.
Yeah,
like that in the
yeah. Let
background.
me see. Although here, phrases: until my bundle of joys comes, until my baby is born, until my sweetie pie arrives. Aw.
So those are all phrases that can be on the screen,
Yeah.
right?
And then you can update to premium, but then they type your own phrases, multiple countdowns.
But it really is just about the countdown. I know a lot of these
Yeah.
apps have like kick counters and
put
contraction
music on
timers
it.
and all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it really is about the countdown.
Yeah.
For this.
Yeah,
or
Aaron,
count up.
what do you think about it? You just saw it.
Yeah, I think it's really simple, and the only thing is if it's showing a piece of cake, and our discussion today is on gestational might not be the best thing.
May not be the best if you have gestational diabetes. That's why I said, can you change the background at all?
Well, I'm trying. I don't know. I'm. Oh, here we go. Photos. Aw, baby feet.
Okay, so you can do multiple things.
Aw,
Okay.
that's so cute.
So some minor modifications, just to kind of tailor it to your style.
Yeah.
But it's all about the countdown. I mean, if that's all you want from it, and you just go to this one place on your phone, and you can find it instantaneously. I don't have a problem with that, and it's free. I don't think you can really go wrong.
Yeah.
If it's free, so I would recommend it. I give it a thumbs up.
Sure, I give it a thumbs up too. What about you, Aaron?
Yeah, easy.
All right, 3 thumbs up. Today we're talking about gestational diabetes and some practical things you can do to keep your blood sugar at the right level. Joining us today as our expert is Dr. Goycochea.
That's excellent.
Okay. All right, great. In addition to caring for his patients at Sharp Grossmont Hospital, he has previously served as the hospital's OBGYN department chairman. Dr. Goycochea, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me.
Now, let's just start off with what is gestational diabetes and what makes it different from traditional diabetes?
Well, a woman who's pregnant, who has never had diabetes, and who has very high levels of sugar or glucose during the pregnancy, that would be considered somebody diagnosed with gestational diabetes.
Okay. So you could be totally not have diabetes before the pregnancy and then be diagnosed with diabetes. I take it that once the pregnancy ends, that it goes away generally?
You're correct. If you don't have diabetes before with pregnancy and you have it during the pregnancy itself, that's the gestational diabetes.
Okay.
When the pregnancy ends, unfortunately, there's a 20% risk of the women with gestational diabetes may end up having diabetes later on.
Oh, wow.
So it's later on in life,
In
or
life.
is it so? But it could go away right after you have the baby, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Right.
But you could.
But
get
they're at high risk for 20% having it, so it's important that they follow afterwards with evaluations to make sure the sugar does not continue going up
Oh, wow.
and be treated properly then.
Yeah. So what causes the increased blood sugar in the first place?
We don't know exactly. We do get some clues. We think that the placenta produces a lot of hormones and products that make the baby grow. These same compounds can actually affect or cause insulin resistance on the mother, meaning that these products cause the insulin in the mother not to be as effective. And for the mother to have the same metabolism of the sugar in their body, we need sometimes about 3 more times as much insulin as you would already require. So because you cannot produce so much, that's why your levels go up high.
Oh, okay. Now, what are the kind of symptoms that you would have of gestational diabetes if it got out of control?
Actually, at the beginning, you don't have any. And that's why we diagnose or rather screen everybody in the pregnancy.
Okay.
There is no symptoms in people who have adults who have onset diabetes require insulin. We know that they have become very thirsty. They are go to the bathroom very frequently because of the high sugars in the urine. But you do not see that early in pregnancy.
Yeah, I was going to say, wow, going to the bathroom pretty frequently. I mean, that's
That's every pregnant woman.
Every pregnant woman will have diabetes based on that. So that's why I say that's not one.
Yeah. Now, Erin, you said that you got tested for it, and I know that during my pregnancies, I always got tested for it, like the 28 weeks, where you drink the kind of the orange crush soda, and some women love it, and some women think it's really disgusting, and then you get your blood drawn. But you said you had testing done earlier for it. So what did you have done?
I was tested, and they did the hemoglobin A1C, which essentially measures kind of how your blood sugar levels have been over a period of about 3 months. Am I correct?
That's correct, yeah.
And so that was slightly elevated. It put me in this category called pre-diabetic.
No, how pregnant were you when you had that done?
This was my first trimester screening and lab work.
Okay.
Yeah, so really early
The one
on.
where they have like 20 vials of blood all lined
Yes.
up and like, are you afraid of needles? Well, I am now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So just during that one was when my level came back slightly elevated, and they said, you have gestational diabetes.
Oh, wow. So, and then you basically had to just do what? Did you have to take insulin or something like that?
No. So from that, they then sent you to the educational class, and I'm sure there's probably other moms that have gone through this exact same thing, where you go and you meet with the diabetes educator. They tell you about diet and diet modification. They talk about how you do the blood sugar testing after each meal and the time frames and the reporting back to the clinic as far as how you're doing on your blood sugars. So I went through all of that education and started testing my blood sugars, and found out that after each meal when I tested, they were absolutely fine. They were within the normal limit every time that I tested. So from that, this is my experience. From that, I went back and I was like, oh, my blood sugars are within normal limits. Do I need to continue doing this? And they're like, no, we'll retest you again when you come in for your glucose tolerance test, the orange soda.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Now, doctor, what how does gestational diabetes, how would that affect a woman's baby if she was diagnosed with that?
Well, if you diagnose it with it and on time and you treat it properly, you can most likely end up with a normal baby. That's the good part about it if you diagnose it early, and that's why we encourage all the women to be screened for that.
By normal baby, do you mean like their blood sugar is within normal limits? Or,
correct.
Or size?
Size, not having had any problems later on when they are born, because if the baby is born with on a mother whose diabetes is poorly controlled, they tend to be very big. They tend to be problems with their own sugar, their own calcium. So they have a lot of problems. But the good news about it is that if you diagnose on time and treated it properly, then most women would have a relatively normal pregnancy, a normal delivery, and a nice baby.
Yeah. And I know that was something when I had my first baby, my mother was like, well, they must have misdiagnosed you. You had gestational diabetes. My first baby was 10 pounds, 4 ounces. But then again, my husband's a big guy, and I'm not exactly petite either. I'm rather tall. So I kind of wonder if that had probably more to do with it than my mother just.
Well, yeah, and all your babies have been bigger babies too.
They
so,
have. I just
your
don't have 6
levels are
pound.
fine.
Yeah, I just don't have 6 pound peanuts. So yeah, yeah. Oh wow. So and Sunny, you said you were diagnosed. Which of your pregnancies did you have?
Number 2.
Okay.
My first, I passed with flying colors on everything. Never thought, I was ever going to have an issue with it. But my baby was over 9 pounds when he was born, and so for baby number 2, right at my first appointment, my first prenatal appointment, they told me I needed to get some blood work to see, just because the first baby was bigger, and that came back fine. And then when I went for whatever the 28, 24 week, then I had one of my levels where it was a little high. So then I had to come back for the 3 hour. And that was questionable. Like it didn't confirm me as gestational diabetes, but they basically said, we need to modify your diet and we're going to test you again, in 4 or 5 weeks. So when they came back and I had to do that 3 hour test again, then another level was high. And they had forewarned me, listen, most people were, 2 of their levels are high. Next time we test, it's 3. And you're probably going to be classified with having gestational diabetes during this pregnancy. So eventually I was, and I did have to go to all the classes and do all that kind of stuff. But really, I wasn't classified as having gestational diabetes until I was 34 weeks pregnant, and I delivered at 38. So I really didn't have that much experience, time to really, I did have to change my diet, and I had to test my sugars. I didn't have to, have anything, beyond that. But what I thought was really crazy is that my next pregnancy was twins. And I thought for sure, there's no way that I'm not going to have gestational diabetes.
I remember you talking about that in the studio, like, I'm coming up for the test.
Yeah, because I think at 10
once
weeks,
you got over the whole total shock of having twins.
Totally. Yeah. After whatever that is, in your first trimester, when you're doing your screening stuff, that came back a little bit high. And I thought, oh no, I felt like I got away with it pretty much for, baby number 2. But I thought, oh no, this whole pregnancy is going to be gestational diabetes, and they caught it early, so I'm going to be miserable this whole pregnancy. Yeah. But then, so I did the necessary testing and had to do a 3 hour again. And, but then it came back fine. So I feel like sometimes they kind of scare you into thinking that if you have it once, you're going to have it with all your kids. That wasn't the case with me.
Yeah. Well, doctor, in your experience, does if a woman has a pregnancy and it is gestational diabetes, for any subsequent pregnancies, is their risk higher that they're going to have it the next time?
It is higher, but it doesn't necessarily mean, as you're saying, that you're going to have it. I think the fact that you already have had it before, what that does is triggers for you to be tested in the first visit. So instead of having the 1 hour glucose test around 22 weeks, we make you go through that, and everybody dislikes that, especially in the first trimester. You have all the nausea to hit a 1 hour glucose test. Yeah. But it is because of that. But it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to have it, but you are at a high risk of having it.
Oh, okay. When we come back, we'll talk about how to control your gestational diabetes. Welcome back. Today we're talking about controlling your blood sugar when you've been diagnosed with gestational diabetes. Doctor, now we were talking a little bit in the break here about, has there been like a change of what the tolerance is as far as what level, as far as blood sugar that triggers a diagnosis of gestational diabetes? It sure seems like, and you were mentioning this, Sunny, that over the years, from like my first pregnancy to now, I hear that diagnosed. It's kind of like with breastfeeding, like tongue tie.
Yeah.
I hear tongue tie all the time
now,
with breastfeeding, and kind of with pregnancy, I hear gestational diabetes a lot more than I did a decade ago with my firstborn. Has there been a change in that, doctor?
Yeah, there seemed to be a change. Several years ago, the break point for that, so to speak, was 135 milligrams of sugar when you do the 1 hour glucose test. So it's coming down to 130. So it's slowly coming down. The thought behind that is that it was felt that by using the higher levels that you were missing some patients who may have had diabetes, gestational diabetes, that is. It's not 100% embraced by everybody, because some people think, well, if you make it so low, they're going to be over-diagnosing, and which is not as good. But in most cases now, in most laboratories, 130, depending on the lab, to 135 still seems to be the baseline level for triggering a 3-hour glucola test.
And I think, too, as far as possibly being overdiagnosed, I feel like I kind of fell into that category. And I think what comes with that, and that we haven't really addressed, is the psychological impact of it, of the fear related to having, going and having gestational diabetes, or I feel like it was very impressed on me that if your diabetes isn't under control, you could have fetal demise. If you're not doing your kick counts, you can have fetal demise. Like, I feel like that came up quite a bit in my education, and it was a bit scary. So I'm wondering, too, like, does that happen to other women, and then how are they dealing with that, and they're monitoring their sugars and they're all fine.
It can be scary, but I think it's up to us to present that also in a non-threatening way that can be also embraced by the moms, because it's already as stressful as it is.
I agree.
Yeah.
Well, how is it treated? Is insulin a normal thing that is moms are put on insulin, or is it all having to do with control of diet and exercise?
I think that most of the gestational diabetes, say the first time or even second time, they can be treated by diet and exercise.
Okay.
A few, I don't know, maybe I would say that about 40% or 50% maybe put on oral medication like glyburide, which is the most common use. And a small percentage, 2-3% perhaps may require insulin. So the number required insulin is relatively small.
Oh, okay. Now, Erin, what did you do as far as you talked about testing your blood sugar? That it wasn't something that needed to be done in a clinic or anything. You just do that right at home.
Yeah, so you do it at home. Yeah. They set you up with the little kit and the meter. They tell you how to do your finger stick. You do it in the morning. You do it, I think it was like 30 minutes after you ate your meal.
Yeah. Did you always use the same spot on your finger? Or?
No.
Yeah.
Ouch. Rotate through all your different fingers and back and forth in different little areas. And yeah. So, I mean, you get used to it, and it gets pretty easy, and you get used to writing down everything that you eat.
And they have apps, too, for that. And
Yes.
I actually used an app because that was much more convenient for me to write down my levels. And then it even created, like, little graphs and comparison stuff. So when I went to my OB, and shared that information, because
my dad has diabetes. Obviously, it's not gestational in nature. But he, and God bless my mom. I think that's that really has worked as far as having your partner on board with controlling the diet. It really has to be that if somebody has diabetes, you can't just have, okay, well, here's the person on the no-fun diabetes diet.
Right.
And then everyone else gets to eat ice cream. That doesn't work real well, but he uses an app as well. So
I think it was really eye-opening to me. Like I said, I really didn't have it for that long. At least I wasn't officially classified with it for more than 5 weeks, 6 weeks maybe. Yeah. But I still had to go through everything. And I don't know, when I'm pregnant, I like to eat what I want to eat. And for someone to tell me that not only can you not do that, but you can't even eat what you were normally eating before you got pregnant and were so hungry. So just stuff like not having regular peanut butter and having to substitute something with less sugar. I'm like, I didn't even know there was a lot of sugar in peanut butter, and really really paying attention to what you were eating, I think was the most difficult thing, because like I said, I just wanted to eat everything. And then the finger pricking isn't something that I would like to do for an entire pregnancy. It's not the most fun thing to do. But I think if we keep in mind that, granted, there are people that afterwards that this could turn into something else. But if you keep, in mind that for most people, this is just gestational. It's just when you're pregnant, and it's kind of like breastfeeding. It's like, okay, can I get through the next month? Yes. Okay, can I get through the next
sister, I'm like the next day on breastfeeding. Yeah.
Right.
So, but I think day by day.
I think that's how you have to look at it, because I don't think it's a fun thing. I don't think anyone would say, oh, yeah, it was great. Just gestational diabetes.
I'm stoked. I got diagnosed.
I'm the lucky one. Yeah. But it's for your child.
Yeah.
So it's a good reason, obviously.
It's for your baby. So and doctor, like you were saying, it's a good time to say, hey, this is a good time to watch what you're eating, establish an exercise routine. And speaking of exercise routine, what is something that you would recommend to a mom that has a diagnosis of gestational diabetes? Obviously, they're not going to go and run a marathon, but what kind of exercises would you recommend for them to help control that blood sugar?
Well, I recommend exercise for all pregnant women to start with. Especially, we'd encourage especially women who are diabetic, with gestational diabetes. Even doing something like 30 minutes aerobic exercise, walking, swimming, bicycling is very, very important. Not just because the exercise itself increases your insulin levels, efficacy of insulin, so it drops your glucose. There's less need for the medication. But also, if you do a lot of exercise, there is some evidence that you make some endorphin outpouring that makes you feel good. And I also encourage them to do that because the more exercise you do, you're going to be better fit when the baby comes. And so and emotionally, I think the woman who is more physically active, I think that they also are much better.
Erin, what type of exercise did you do with when you were pregnant with your little guy?
I think I read in Ina May, it was something like I walked every day and the baby like almost fell out. And so I was like, okay, I'm going for it. Yeah. So I walked a lot, which was really nice. And just being outside is awesome. A lot of yoga. I did a lot of yoga. That was great. Those are my two big ones. And then swimming because it was over the summer.
Well, it's nice. The things that you're mentioning, and Doctor, you mentioned this as well, they all seem to be very low impact type of things. So you're already carrying so much more weight.
Yes, especially for the aerobics. Swimming is great. You have a great buoyancy. So you swimming a lot better.
Now, as far as diet changes, I hear my mom talking a lot about carbohydrates. What's the deal with carbohydrates? Is the idea to bring your carbohydrates down, or is it that carbohydrates have more sugars in them? Or, do you have to plan your meals around a lower carbohydrate type of level? Or what do women have to do when they have that?
I think it has to do more with the type of carbohydrates. There are things like refined sugars that are carbohydrates, sweets, candies, cookies, syrups, all those things have carbohydrates are pretty much sugar. You have other things like pasta, dry beans. They have carbohydrates that are not very high in the sugar content, but they're very nutritious. That's a big difference.
Oh, okay.
So you really want...
So you want the complex carbohydrates.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't want all those simple, refined, and even we don't want moms who have this problem, or even without the diabetes, to be drinking a lot of juices. Juices have some more pure sugar. Or eating any canned fruits. They have syrupy, or even... Sometimes women come to me in the office and I say, gee, what happened with the weight? I'm eating healthy. I'm eating a lot of fruits. What are you eating? Oranges. And I say, God, they have a lot of sugar.
Yeah.
So we just think about healthy, like fruits is healthy. But being healthy does not mean you eat a lot. Like the oranges have a lot of sugar. So you have to be modify that.
That makes a lot of sense now. Because my midwife in my last pregnancy, we knew the baby was a little bit bigger, but I chose to go in for the diabetes test. I wasn't diabetic. I just make large children. But she was saying the same thing with my diet. She was like, don't eat so much fruit. Take it easy on the fruit, Dan. So focusing a lot more on leafy green vegetables and lean proteins and maybe not so much dairy, but I'm from the dairy states. I like my cheese. So, yeah. Thanks, Dr. Goycochea, for joining us today. For more information about our expert and our panelists, visit the episode page on our website. This conversation continues for members of our Preggy Pals Club. After the show, Dr. Goycochea is going to share with us how a diagnosis of gestational diabetes may affect the birth of your baby and what your OB's biggest concern with the diagnosis of gestational diabetes is. To join our club, visit our website, www.preggypals.com.
Hey everyone, it's Sunny. I have not shared my birth story of my twins yet, so I thought I would do so in a segment we like to call 5-Minute Birth Stories. So before I get started, if you guys have a birth story that you're just dying to share with our audience, we would love to hear it. Call our voicemail at 619-866-4775. It's just a voicemail. No one's going to pick up the phone, so don't be freaked out by that. Just leave your story in 5 minutes or less, and we'll play it back on our show. So for my story with the twins, it was pretty crazy because I had in my head all along that I was going to make it to full term for twins, for my type of twin. And that usually only goes to about 38 weeks. They don't let you go much past that because my twins were sharing the same placenta, and it can become kind of dangerous after that point. But I really wanted to make it, right up to the 38-week mark. And I thought if I just put it in my head, it was going to happen. It was going to happen. And everything was going really well with the pregnancy. I didn't have gestational diabetes. Woohoo! And I was just kind of swimming along. And then on the morning of November 11th, I'm taking a shower in the morning. And I get out of the shower. This is kind of gross. I'm like, oh boy, because, either I'm peeing myself, which it didn't feel like I had to pee. And I certainly didn't think it was the water from the shower, or my water just broke. Now, I had two waters, keep in mind, because the twins, they were sharing the same placenta, but in two separate sacs. So, my body's just kind of leaking this fluid. I'm going, what's going on? Because, with my two boys, they had to break my water. Well, my second boy was a C-section, so that's a whole other thing. But with my first, they had to break my water. So my water is never broken naturally. It's not like you see in the movies where, it just kind of comes gushing out. And so I'm sitting there going, should I tell my husband? Because it was Veterans Day, which was good because my husband had the day off. So he's downstairs cooking breakfast for our kids. And I didn't know what to say to him. So I walked down and I just had this look on my face. And he's like, what? And I'm like, I think one of my waters just broke. And he just gave me that look, like, because we had not planned what we were going to do. And again, in my head, I was going to make it to 38 weeks. So my parents were coming into town, and in a couple weeks, but nothing was ready to go at that time. And so I ended up calling labor and triage and kind of explained to them my symptoms and what was going on. And they said, well, if you think your water broke, we absolutely have to see you. So on my way to the hospital, I started to feel contractions. And I thought, oh, this is it. I knew it was. And so we were able to drop off my older children, my two older sons, at our friend's house. And then we went straight to the hospital. And sure enough, they checked me. I'm like 2 or 3 centimeters dilated. And mind you, this was a planned cesarean. So I was at least thinking, I wasn't going to go into labor with this. And I'm like, man, I'm going to have a C-section and I'm in labor. Man, this totally sucks. So, because with my second son, I just had a C-section. That was it. I never went into labor. And so I'm a big wuss when it comes to pain. But probably for the next 2 hours, they were admitting me and doing vitals and getting the OR prepped and all this kind of stuff. And I'm in a lot of pain, and they didn't give me anything because, I was going to go and get my spinal once I was in there. And so fast forward, and my husband joined me in the OR. Everything went well with the spinal. And the girls were actually born the same minute. Can you believe that? Like, they don't even have their own minute that they were born. But the girls came out great. Baby A was 5 pounds, 5 ounces, and baby B was 5 pounds, 8 ounces. And so another thing I had hoped is that they would get to 6 pounds, but they were still very healthy. They never had to go to the NICU. They were breathing great. And we were able to go home, in about 4 days. So that's my 5-minute birth story.
That wraps up our show for today. We appreciate you listening to Preggy Pals. Don't forget to check out our sister shows, Parent Savers, for parents with newborns, infants, and toddlers, Twin Talks, for parents of multiples, and the Boob Group, for moms who breastfeed their babies. Next week, we're going to be continuing our series on fetal development, moving into the second trimester. What exactly is going on with your baby during months 4 through 6 of your pregnancy? This is Preggy Pals, your pregnancy, your way.
This has been a New Mommy Media production. The information and material contained in this episode are presented for educational purposes only. Statements and opinions expressed in this episode are not necessarily those of New Mommy Media and should not be considered facts. While such information and materials are believed to be accurate, it is not intended to replace or substitute for professional medical advice or care, and should not be used for diagnosing or treating healthcare problem or disease or prescribing any medication. If you have questions or concerns regarding your physical or mental health or the health of your baby, please seek assistance from a qualified healthcare provider.
New Mommy Media is expanding our lineup of shows for new and expecting parents. If you have an idea for a new series, or if you're a business or organization interested in joining our network of shows through a co-branded podcast, visit newmommymedia.com. Hey mamas, don't forget to check out Mighty Moms. It's our online community built for new moms just like you. Not only can you connect with other moms, but you can also join us backstage for special mom-only online events. And you'll also be notified when we're recording so you can join us as a special guest. Visit our website, newmommymedia.com, and click on the Mighty Moms banner. It's free. That's newmommymedia.com. See you there.